you have to give us the equivalent of Little League. And so I thought, well, we can't ask our mentors, our professional engineers, to work with 5, 6, 8, 10-year-old kids, and we can't use these complex, expensive systems and machine shops for little kids, just like you can't put little kids in the Super Bowl, but you can give them T-ball in the backyard.
There you go.
So I went to the chairman and CEO of the Lego company, well known around the world for little, essentially engineering tools. You can call them toys, but you build things with Lego. And I went to see their chairman in Billund, Denmark, and said, what if we package up Lego stuff, but then we make a 6-week build season, we make the same kind of a tournament, and just as T-ball is to baseball, maybe they don't look the same to adults, but to a little kid playing T-ball, what if we could package up a Little League version of First to get these kids hooked earlier? And we won't call it Little League, we'll call it Lego League. And even though it started 5 or 6 years later, within a couple of years, it took off. It's a much, much easier thing to put even in a classroom. And we had built-in mentors. All the older brothers and sisters, all these high school kids became the mentors to these younger kids, and you never learn anything as well as when you try to teach it. And so all these older brothers and sisters became really the teachers and therefore the learners working with these young kids. But within 6 or 7 years of starting the first Lego League competition, it passed 10,000 schools participating per year. And this year, we have over 16,000 in total.
Incredible. And it's growing.
It's growing at a phenomenal rate.
It's growing phenomenally. Give kids a challenge, give them the tools, build their self-confidence, have hands-on activities going on, have mentors there to catch them should they fall a little bit, pump them up once again, and there you've got it. And this is a formula for, as you said, our next generation, the ones who are going to cure something that right now perplexes us terribly, cancer perhaps, or multiple sclerosis, or diabetes. Or they're going to be the scientists and the technicians of tomorrow, the mathematicians who discover all new kinds of worlds. It's just phenomenal. And you've given them a place to start and begin with the inspiration. It's just really incredible. I need to put in a plug, though, for one of my other school systems, because in 2005, I probably was the only state senator in the United States to have 2 teams become champions in first competition. Yes, you mentioned the hot team out in Milford, Huron Valley Schools, GM was the sponsor, but also Intier Automotive in Novi, Michigan, my hometown, with Frog Force, Novi High School, and I'm very proud of both of those teams. They came up and celebrated with us right in the Senate chambers and were given tributes. And anything I can do to be supportive, I've been a judge.
Thank you for that.
Oh, well, it's fascinating what I learned. I mean, what did I know about nanotechnology before I saw what some young people could come up with and design a whole system around nanotechnology to solve a problem. Dean, it's been absolutely incredible, but your work really is not done. You know people, you've mentioned some names. I'd like to mention some names too. Out in Milford, there's a man who's been, has the foresight and the persistence to stay with it. He's one of your biggest cheerleaders, Walt Hitchcock. And then also Jerry Wilson. Both of those gentlemen are from GM, God bless them. And Tom Nader, who serves, I believe, as council president in the village of Milford. His son has been involved in the whole program as well. And then there's a very special lady. You mentioned young girls and minorities. Well, Jennifer Harvey really took on the lead, if you will, with Novi, my hometown. We had to do some convincing, but she did, and she brought robotics to Novi. Northville, Michigan, just next door, has been very active and winning too as well. I just want to also emphasize why Michigan is such a leader. You mentioned how they come up with a new structure that could become a model for the rest of the robotics teams. But we've won more awards than any other state. We may be second in terms of the total number, second only to California. But when teams want to know what's going on, they look to Michigan. So yeah, folks, we have got to get out there and even do more. We've got to get the public participation in it. And when I say that, this is education, first and foremost. It's serious business in a wonderful, fun, competitive atmosphere. But we need to really secure some funding within our state budget for this. And I will continue to work very hard for that. I want you to share a little bit more about yourself and the next steps. Where are we going from here, Dean?
Well, as I said, the compelling data is that every school that has a FIRST team is affected, not just the kids on the team, but the whole school attitude about education, about science, about what we really ought to be competitive is as an organization, as a country. You know, it's nice to compete in the Olympics and win the shot put. That's not going to change your standard of living. If we don't compete in the global marketplace, we won't have the jobs. We won't have the industries. And so showing kids that a competition that involves thinking and problem solving is every bit as exciting, every bit as rewarding, every bit as much fun, and way more likely to lead to careers for them is critically important. And it's got to happen very fast. Over the next 10 or 15 years, the kids that are in these high schools now, for better or worse, are going to be the backbone and the engine that runs this country. If they are not the most competent people on this planet, they only represent about 3% of the global population. The kids, the 39 million kids we have in our public schools today, are competing with 1 billion kids their age around the world that are screaming towards 100% literacy. Because ironically, the rest of the world has figured out high levels of broad-based public education are what give you a high standard of living. And the rest of the world is willing to focus on that because they want to become what we have been, the model to them. This is not the time for America to slip and slide and lose its vision and focus and direction. So I think the next steps are, particularly in this recession, which maybe is getting people's attention, if there's a silver lining, the next steps should be to make sure that people that lead, that really lead, not administer, not manage, lead our government, ought to say the 21st century education has got to be as inspiring and creating as much passion in these kids to do things that matter as over the last 20 or 30 years we put passion in them to bounce a ball or go to Hollywood. And I think it's up to you and the people in your circle to get out to the public with the fact that FIRST is not some amusement.
Absolutely
not.
It
is critical.
Because it's so critical, I want feedback from all of you. You can contact me at 1-888-38-NANCY or my website, senatornancykassis.com. And let's just build Michigan to make it the place where we continue to even go further and farther as leaders in innovation, creativity, the education of our young people to be the leaders of tomorrow. They are outstanding. We have the background. We know what to do. Now, let's do it. Thank you for being with me, Dean. It's been a great pleasure. I'm so honored.
Thank you very much.